I'm delighted to present my solo show, Claochló, at the Joan Clancy Gallery in Ring, Dungarvan, County Waterford. This show, titled Claochló, means transformation, and I'm specifically looking at the transformation that comes over the urban environment around me in which I live, and the transformation that comes seasonally over the plants, the weeds, and the whatever wildlife I see growing through this. So I see the urban cycle of buildings being constructed, and then over time the demolition and reconstruction. I try to show this in my work by stripping the buildings back to their bare essentials. I want to turn them into little box-like structures without any externals, just so it's back down to the buildings and to the plant forms within it. And I want them to feel like anybody can manipulate them, that they're tactile. And also I like to include a spatial dimensionality to them, so that you feel you can enter the space. The thinned umber painted sections in the paintings refer to my memory of more rural areas, and that seem more distant to me when I'm in this urban environment. 4 of the paintings in this exhibition are titled World: pink, blue, red and green. When I was creating these pieces, I was thinking about the much smaller world in which we live in now. And I was preparing this exhibition. I'd finished my previous show and was wondering how to begin again, how to reassess where I was at, how to look at the world around me again. So I began by breaking down my previous paintings through printing and cutting up, reassembling and trying to find a key into how to recreate the world around me. And I think this reflects how we're all trying to recreate the world around us. Our lives have become much smaller physically, and we're trying to reassemble everything as best we can. But also, going into the future, how we reassemble now really dictates how the world will be around us. Often I use the analogy in my work of the cardboard box with its tactile handles being like the buildings that we live in. It also refers to what we contain and perhaps hold precious. In this piece I have the geranium in the centre, and for possibly centuries the geranium has always had pride of place on people's windowsills, and as do I. And recently I found out that actually the geranium provides no benefit to the wildlife around us. But the nettles surrounding this piece, they have high medicinal qualities. They're great pollen for the insects and butterflies, and I just wanted to show in the piece how we protect some things and leave other things outdoors externally. The windows in this piece show trees down on a local river walk, and their twisting gnarly branches remind me of my geranium plant at home. So I've included them in this piece to show the connection between indoors and outdoors, and to look at the differences between the different things that we look at and hold dear. I was looking through some of my old art books recently as well, and I found this piece by Henri Matisse, Spanish Still Life, which he created in 1910, and there was the geranium pot, pride of place in the centre, and he had it surrounded by these decorated, I suppose they're Japanese influenced tapestries and blankets. And I think this was also a key to me using the geranium in my work, having it centre, pride of place, surrounded by the decorative plants. Claochló, Lake Erie, was inspired by a walk I took in the city during the 5k lockdown, and the weather was absolutely foul, rain bashing down on me, but I went out anyway, and I found myself on the UCC grounds, and the floodplains there had large pools of water in them, loads of foliage, and the place just seemed magical and transformed, and I really wanted to make a piece about this experience. Humanity has always had a deep connection with nature, but our understanding of it and our attitude to it has evolved over time. It needs continuous reassessment. In order to refer to this long historical and ongoing connection, the next three pieces talk back to art history. In these pieces, I have referred to well-known figurative motifs that have been depicted throughout Western art history. This practice continues in contemporary art, where these known figures are used for different contexts and ideas. Taking its motif from ancient Greek literature, the Three Graces depicts the three daughters of Zeus, each of whom is described as being able to bestow a particular gift on humanity: mirth, elegance, youth and beauty. The oldest existing portrayal of the Three Graces, dating to the 2nd century AD, is of a Roman stone sculpture. They were popularised by artists such as Botticelli, Raphael, Canova and Rubens, but they continued to be revisited by artists such as Picasso in the modern era and by contemporary artist Louise Bourgeois, to name a very few. I have revisited the Three Graces in order to give a sense of the history of humanity, but by depicting contemporary figures, I want to situate this work in the present, using the tropes of the built environment and nature as context. The figures in this painting are young, based on a video I took of three friends jumping on a trampoline in a walled back garden in an urban environment. It is this generation that will be most affected by the changes we make to our physical environment and the effects of climate change, so while this work refers to the past and is situated in the present, because of their youth it points to the future, and I question what type of environment that they will grow up to inherit. Music is a way of engaging with and processing ideas and attitudes to both our internal and external worlds. Music has been personified in paintings, often titled Analogy of Music. Here I have painted this young contemporary figure, engaged with playing the mandolin, reminiscent of depictions of medieval and Renaissance painted figures playing the lute. This piece engages with the present as the figure is in the act of absorption, playing. Like the Three Graces, her youth points to the future. The formal built structure, balanced with three arches and reference to the natural world, appear idyllic, unreal, and again, as the artist, I wonder how the world will be structured in this figure's future. The Birth of Venus depicts a figure jumping into the sea. Rather than the traditional image of Venus arriving fully formed from the sea, I wanted to show the moment after a decision is made to jump into the water. There is a euphoric feeling of rebirth after jumping into the cold sea like this, that many people have been doing this year in particular. It is an empowering act that any of us can take. In this work, the figure is jumping from a structured wall on the left into open nature and the unknown.